Beyblade is a show that has a strange place in my heart. It was the first anime I ever watched that wasn't Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Dragon Ball Z. And I got really into it when I was in high school, when it was airing both in the US and in Japan. It's one of those shows that for some reason I feel compelled to come back and rewatch the whole thing every few years for a reason I can't explain. At the end of 2023, the Beyblade Metal Saga all of a sudden became super popular again, to the point where now in early 2024, I'm seeing a lot of content for the show on YouTube in the form of character analysis, tier lists, and even what if videos. And the thing is, I came up with a what if for this show a few years ago, but I never got around to making any progress on it. And now that Beyblade is becoming popular again, I figured it was finally time I got my butt in gear and made this video before someone else got to it first. Now, if you already know the story of the Beyblade Metal Saga, you can skip to this point in the video. But if you don't, I'll get you up to speed. Beyblade is basically a combination of Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z with sentient tops. That's it. That's all there is. And if you think that sounds kind of dumb, well, you're not wrong. But here's the thing. Beyblade knows that its premise is dumb. So it compensates for this by taking itself way too seriously, all while being fully aware that it is still a silly shonen anime about the power of friendship and screaming really loud.
Long ago, a large star fell from the sky on that spot. Inside the star that fell on that land was hidden an evil, dark power. The people of the day were enchanted by that power, and from a fragment of the star, they created an evil top.
Since ancient times, the existence of bays can be found in moments throughout history. The power of Beyblades have been used to change the course of rivers and oceans. They have been used to defeat many armies and create huge empires.
I have everyone's strength on my side now, and I won't let you down. Thank you, everyone. You're such wonderful friends.
In Beyblade Metal Fusion, we are introduced to the main character, Ginga, who wants to be the very best, like no one ever was. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong anime. Ginga, who wants to train really hard and fight strong opponents just to become stronger. Oh, wait, that's the wrong anime. Ginga, who wants to be the strongest blader ever. Now, over the course of the show, we meet a lot of characters, many of whom become friends and rivals, and in the series finale, Ginga is crowned the world's strongest blader when he wins a tournament consisting of only the strongest bladers in the country of Japan. Wait, I thought only American sports teams did that. Oh, and he also beats the big bad guy, who is far stronger than him and much more powerful because of the power of friendship.
The thing that decides who wins a battle isn't the bay's strength. It's the blader's spirit!
Oh, sorry, my bad. Blader's spirit. Beyblade Metal Masters begins after that, where strong bladers around the world are taking issue with the fact that Ginga was crowned the world's strongest blader for winning what was essentially a Japanese national tournament. In response to this, the WBBA, the World Beyblade Organization, decides to host an international tournament to decide who is the world's strongest blader. To participate, countries are required to assemble teams of 4 bladers. 3 are regular members and 1 is a substitute blader. Since Ginga won the tournament in the end of Metal Fusion, Metal Masters begins with the competition to determine the other 3 members of Team Japan, and the field is narrowed down to 4 bladers: Kyoya, Tsubasa, Masamune, and Yu. In the first match between these bladers, Masamune battles and defeats Yu, making him the second member of Team GanGan Galaxy. In the second match, Kyoya battles and defeats Tsubasa, which would grant him a spot on Team Japan. But, in the anime, Kyoya turns down his spot in GanGan Galaxy, saying that Ginga is the only blader in the world he's interested in beating, and that he only participated in this process to show Ginga his strength, and then leaves without another word. But in our story, we're going to change this. After the battle between Kyoya and Tsubasa, when Jinga goes to congratulate Kyoya on his win, Kyoya turns to Jinga and says, "Don't get the wrong idea, Jinga. I'm not going to be another one of your little pals or anything. I'm only joining in this world championship to make sure that whatever team you're on wins. That way, when I beat you, it will mean that I have truly beaten the world's strongest blader." The two of them share a brief stare before Jinga takes a step forward, gives Kyoya a smile, and says, "I look forward to it." So now that Kyoya is a member of GanGan Galaxy, let's see what kind of effect this has on the story going forward. With 3 of the 4 spots on GanGan Galaxy now filled, the match between Tsubasa and Yu becomes an elimination match. And when Tsubasa wins the battle, becoming the 4th member of GanGan Galaxy, the alternate or substitute blader, it means that there's not a spot left for Yu. Now, we learn in the show Metal Fury, which comes after Metal Masters, that when the Beyblade World Championship ends, Yu goes on a journey around the world by himself and completely disappears from the story, only to reappear when he just happens to run into Kyoya partway through. So in our story, the situation where Yu has been defeated and doesn't have a place on Japan's representative team, he goes and begins that training journey now, meaning that Yu is absent for the rest of our story. But for now, it's time to begin the Beyblade World Championship, and things start off identically to the events of the anime. In the first round, Team GanGan Galaxy travels to China to battle against Team Wang Huzhong. The first match consists of Masamune battling against and defeating Chao Shin. The second match, while it would on paper be a battle between Kyoya and Chiyun, Kyoya decides that battling Chiyun isn't worth his time, and instead tells Tsubasa to go and take the match against Chiyun. And so, the match plays out the same as it does in the anime, where Tsubasa loses control of himself, succumbing to the dark power for the second time in the show, and Chiyun is able to win the match against an unhinged Tsubasa. Before the third match between Jinga and Deshayan, Kyoya reminds Jinga that he is the only blader Jinga is allowed to lose to, so he better not mess this up. And, like in the anime, Jinga wins the battle, and GanGan Galaxy advances to the second round. For the second round, the team travels to Russia and faces off against Team Lavushka. While on the train, Nawaguma and Lyra still have their battles against Jinga and Masamune, and the whole thing ends up being a distraction, so that Lavushka's leader, Alexei, can steal the information about GanGan Galaxy's bays off of their mechanic, Madoka's personal computer. However, since Kyoya is there when all of this happens, he remarks that the whole incident seemed kind of funny, since Jinga and Masamune were able to win their battles way too easily. After Masamune falls for the trap of following a trail of cheeseburgers at an earlier stop, the team arrives at the station and realize that Masamune is missing, which only serves to heighten Kyoya's suspicions. In the first match against Lavushka, Jinga battles and defeats Nawaguma in the infamous cage battle, and it becomes clear to all of GanGan Galaxy that Team Lavushka is a bunch of dirty cheaters. Outraged by this, Kyoya steps forward for the second match, saying that any cowards who cheat in a bay battle must be taught a lesson. Now, it's hard to say what kind of stadium Lavushka's team leader, Anton, would have made to try to counter Kyoya's skills and take away his ability to create tornadoes with his bay, but I don't think that it really matters. We saw Kyoya creating an air current with nothing but the friction between his bay and the ground, way back in the early days of Metal Fusion when he was nowhere near as strong as he is now. So it's safe to say that Kyoya wins his battle and advances GanGan Galaxy to the third round. Before the next round, GanGan Galaxy has to travel to Greece to attend the Festival of Warriors. After their first round match, they happened to see the battle between Team Desert Blaze and Excalibur, where they witnessed Julian Konzern, Team Excalibur's ace, defeat the entirety of Team Desert Blaze by himself. And GanGan Galaxy hopes that by going to Greece, they can scout out Julian, and maybe if they're lucky, even learn the identities of the other members of the European team, Excalibur. However, when GanGan Galaxy first arrives at the festival, it is Wales who tells them that they cannot enter because, and his exact words are, that they are a bunch of nobodies from nowhere. This infuriates Kyoya, who presses the group to get into the festival and show to everyone who the real nobodies are. This action of barging into the festival and showing up the bladers gathered there culminates in a 3v3 battle where Jinga, Masamune, and Kyoya take on Sophie, Wales, and Julian. This battle is much closer than the original 3v3 battle in the anime, since Kyoya's approach to battle and his brute strength means that Julian actually has to participate in the fray. The battle heats up, and Kyoya calls on his Lion Gale Force Wall. In response, Sophie and Wales begin to call on their joint special move. At the same moment, Jinga and Masamune's base take flight, preparing to launch their special moves from above. Kyoya looks at Julian and asks him if he's ready to lose. But Julian, however, just simply shouts, "Sophie! Wales! Enough!" Suddenly, bays of Sophie, Wales, and Julian fly out of the stadium and into their respective bladers' hands, ending the battle, and they begin to leave. Kyoya, enraged by Team Excalibur and their forfeit, says, "Is that it? You act all tough, like you're the greatest bladers in the world. When you realized you were going to lose, you just run away. Stay and fight like real bladers, instead of running like cowards." Julian stops, turns and faces Kyoya. "Cowards, you say? I like that. You're a rather funny guy. We aren't leaving the battle because we're afraid to lose. We're leaving because it would be a waste of time to defeat you here when the whole world isn't watching to see that I, Julian Conzern, am the strongest blader in the entire world. And when we meet in the next round, I'll be sure to prove it to you." And with that, Team Excalibur leaves. But as they leave, Sophie and Wales notice just a moment of frustration come across Julian's face. It's now time for the third round, where GanGan Galaxy is matched up with Team Wildfang. Oh, yeah. Team Wildfang doesn't exist in our scenario. You see, from our knowledge of the South African qualifying process, we know that Niall would have been named one of the representatives of the team. However, since Kyoya is on GanGan Galaxy, Niall would end up being the only blader on the team with any level of relative strength. And he would recognize that his only chance to win the World Championship as a member of Team South Africa would be for him to fight every single battle of the tournament by himself. Now, granted, Niall is a top-tier blader, and he knows his strength as well as anyone, but he also realizes that it wouldn't be practical, or maybe even possible, to win the World Championships with him going and fighting every match as a 3v1. And so, taking a page from Anime Kyoya's book, Niall in our story gives up his spot on the South African team, knowing that it would be a waste of his time to compete without having any real teammates. This means that GanGan Galaxy's opponent for the third round is actually Team Chandora from India. And the match ends up being, it's boring. Vridik goes first and loses his battle with Masamune, and in the second match, Jinga easily defeats Salhan. Now, why did Jinga and Masamune fight in this round, you may ask? Well, Kyoya pretty quickly deduces that the bladers on Team Chandora aren't worth his time and chooses not to battle. Tsubasa is offered the chance to battle, but at this point in our story, he is still afraid of the dark power within him running out of control, and chooses to stand down, not wanting to battle if he doesn't have to. After GanGan Galaxy's win, the group travel to France, where they watch Wang Huzhong, the Constellation Bracket champions, get absolutely thrashed by Team Excalibur. After this battle, GanGan Galaxy and Excalibur would both travel to Italy and prepare for the A Block final. Now, in the anime, only Masamune and Yu are present when the match against Excalibur begins. But in our scenario, all 4 members of Team Japan show up for the battle, and they are much more prepared for the showdown against the EU team in the A Block final. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed, leave a comment in the comment section down below, and I hope everyone watching this has a good day.